So Fuzz, big hot topic at the moment, big issue in the classic car world is E10 fuel.
Yes,
so
Sam, yes, yeah.
What's the difference between the E5 fuel we're already using and the E10 fuel?
Well, the 5 and 10 numbers actually refer to the percentage of ethanol in the fuel.
Okay.
So E5 fuel was 5% ethanol. E10 fuel is 10% ethanol. So
Okay.
E10 fuel has basically twice as much ethanol in it as the E5 does.
Okay, so I already use an ethanol stabiliser in
Yep.
my old classic cars for
Yes.
the E5. Should I be doing anything different for E10, or if you're not already using a stabiliser, is now the time to start? What difference is it going to make to our engines?
Okay, well, it's not just the engines that we need to be concerned with fuel, because the fueling of the car starts at the tank and goes all the way through to the burn.
All the
inside,
rubber pipes and hoses and everything.
Yeah, and all the, whatever that fuel line is made from, whatever the fuel tank is made from as well. But there are there's a lot of conversations going on and a lot of scare stories going about there. So I don't know the answer to absolutely everything because I am no scientist. But what I do know is that ethanol is basically alcohol. It's a byproduct of various processes, and so ethanol itself is like the alcohol that gets put into drinks, pretty much. If you drink pure ethanol, it will probably send you into a coma and may well kill you. But ethanol in small quantities is put into drinks and stuff like that. So actually, as humans, we consume it.
Okay.
But also, it can do a number of things because of other things about it. So ethanol will attract water. So certain people have said, well, it's hygroscopic. It will attract water, and then of course water in your fuel will separate out with the heavier fuel with the lighter fuel on top, and the water will sit at the bottom of the fuel tank and start rotting through. Okay, so if that is in fact the case, then that could very simply account for some rotting fuel tanks.
And is
However,
would that be over a sort of a period of a winter or 10 years? I mean, is that something we should be worried about immediately?
I would suggest that if you put some E10 fuel into your fuel tank, and then 6 weeks later the fuel runs out of the fuel tank, I would suggest that the fuel tank was probably already at an advanced stage of corrosion.
Okay, so no need for immediate panic on that one.
I don't think there's any need for immediate panic. There's nothing wrong with taking a fuel tank out, taking a steel fuel tank out, getting it fully cleaned out, properly cleaned out by a professional outfit rather than at home.
Yeah.
So properly cleaned out and then lined with a proprietary product. So some sort of.
So there's a
slot
fix
or
for that.
coating.
There's a.
Yeah, exactly. Just to add.
As always,
protection.
prevention is better than cure.
That's a good winter project.
Okay.
But don't go messing about with fuel in a confined space and all that kind of thing, because all kinds of dangers there. If you're not competent, I would suggest that taking the car to a workshop and getting that done would be a better bet. But yes, so because ethanol can be consumed by creatures such as us and other creatures, apparently certain sort of microbial sort of beings can live in ethanol and consume ethanol. And once they've consumed it, one of the byproducts of their consumption is acetic acid, which of course could rot out fuel tanks and cause corrosion in other places. But I think the places that I have seen on a regular basis that have been affected by modern day petrols tend to be rubber hoses.
Okay.
So what I would suggest, I mean, I put new rubber hoses into my Jensen 541R 4 years ago, less than 4 years ago, and recently I noticed a crack in the exterior of one. It's an E6 hose, and so I thought, right, well, I better replace that. And then when I took it off, it was all starting to fur up on the inside as well. So that's largely been using E5 fuels. So and I know that E9 grade fuel hose is what we're up to now for ethanol protection.
Okay.
So I'd suggest that look on the side of your fuel hoses. There should be a bit of writing on there. If there's not, replace them anyway.
Okay.
But if there is a bit of writing on there, you should see E6 or E9 or something like that. If you've got E9, you should be okay. It's worth checking after maybe 2 or 3 years of the line being on there, just to see if you've got any breakdown.
So we're back to prevention is always better than cure when,
Yes.
when we're maintaining our classic cars, isn't it? So we can use stabilisers, we can check that the rubber hoses are in good condition and replace regularly as they need to be by a good quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Hose,
So stabilisers you can use, things like classic Valve Master and Valve Master Plus. They have ethanol. They have ethanol protection in them, so they can sort of get rid of some of the harmful sort of ways that ethanol can bring corrosion and breakdown in cars' fuel lines.
Okay, so there's no immediate panic with E10. We're going to be able to get E5 for at least 5 years, is I believe the commitment.
That's correct, yeah.
Beyond the 5 years, if it gets to the point where you can no longer buy E5, we should have a plan in place for how we can continue to run our cars with E10.
Well, I think so. There are already products there that can protect against it. The E10 itself has just been sort of really introduced on the forecourts now.
Yeah.
You may have issues with needing to adjust the timing, the ignition timing of the car, of the engine, just to make it drive better.
Okay.
But small things. The main thing is don't panic. You can still buy petrol and you can still use your classic car. You might have a little bit of tweaking to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So for example, a bottle of that Valve Master that you just showed us, it's about 15 quid and it will see you through 250 litres of fuel, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't use the whole lot. You don't put the whole lot in the tank.
Yeah.
You just you squeeze
so that
up the top of the
£15 bottle.
Yeah. So just squeeze up to the top, pour it into the tank, and so what have we got there at the moment? So I think you use 10. So that would be 10 litres. So that would be 25 litres that I've treated there.
Okay. So that in terms of false economy, not looking at these additives.
Yeah.
It could lead to greater costs in terms of repairs and remedial works.
Yeah. If you're worried, use the additives.
And there's plenty out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there are lots
plenty
to choose from.
Yeah.
Lots of companies do it. Of course, I have my own company.
Yeah. Well, we are going to ask you at some stage in the future to go into a little bit more detail about what products you recommend and how you develop the products that,
let's
that
get
you
the
then go and
proper boffins in there because
should we get the scientists in?
Yeah, we need some proper chemistry.
Right. So next time,
dudes.
chemistry lesson.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's it.
Brilliant.
But don't panic.
Thank you so much. Thank you and lots of people are, myself included, a bit confused and a little bit worried about are we doing what we should be doing now and how is it going to affect us in the future?
Number one thing. Rubber fuel hoses. If your rubber fuel hoses are anything over three years or something like that, check them out. Just take the end off and have a look to see where they actually are passing fuel through. Okay. See if there are any problems there. Check them for cracks. Replace them. Get some E9 rubber hose or even better, and replace them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So nothing to worry about.